To begin with, we need to clarify the inherent limitations of using our finite minds to grasp the ungraspable. Your mind cannot grasp enlightenment in the way that you want it to. You want to know it. You want to put it in a box. But this cannot be done, and I will explain why. In order to experience enlightenment, what is in need of is a shift in consciousness. If I were to tell you what enlightenment was, you would try to understand it on an intellectual level. You would try to understand a concept or idea of enlightenment. And this is not it. In fact, you can know more about enlightenment by realizing and embracing that you don't know. I don't know what it is. This empty space of not knowing is far more conducive to self-realization than a flood of beliefs, opinions, and preconceived ideas. But be careful though, because your mind loves to know. And it hates this empty space of not knowing. It will be itching to fill this empty space with a limited conceptual understanding. And this is not it. It's not it. If I were to tell you what a tree is, for example, notice that you don't become directly conscious of what a tree is. All that happens is your mind produces a mental image of a tree, and that is met with your intellectual understanding, your concept of a tree. And this is what you think of a tree as. Notice that this doesn't take you any closer to knowing what a tree really is. You're stuck at the conceptual level. This is significant because any and all attempts to understand what enlightenment is using your finite mind can be seen as completely futile. Enlightenment has no limits. Enlightenment has no boundaries. But your mind is overflowing with boundaries, with limits, with dualities, with ideas and concepts, none of which are it. They are complete mental constructions. If you wanted to experience enlightenment, what you would need to have is direct consciousness of it. You would need to have direct insight into the nature of it. You would need to awaken to it. And you're likely very unfamiliar with what this means, and you likely have no reference experience for this. So how could you possibly know? You don't know. Regardless of all of this, here is a simple definition of enlightenment. Enlightenment is the recognition of your true being. It is the recognition of your true nature. It is the realization of absolute truth that underlies all concepts, identities, and beliefs and ideas and everything. This absolute truth is not something we're creating, nor is it something that we're believing in. What's happening here is we are uncovering what is already there. Ramana Maharshi said, realization is not acquisition of anything new, nor is it a new faculty. It is only removal of all camouflage. Muji said, step into the fire of self-discovery. This fire will not burn you, it will only burn what you are not. Wei Wu Wei said that merely a readjustment is needed. Such readjustment being the abandonment of identification with an inexistent individual self. So enlightenment is the loss of your subjective sense of self. You lose yourself, but you reclaim what is. If you're serious about this work, here's a few things that you can notice. Number one, your mind thinks dualistically. So as soon as there is a you, there has been a distinction made between you and other, self and other. And this boundary is purely relative. The nature of reality is one, total oneness. Everything is intimately connected as one consciousness. And the sense that you are separate, the sense that you individually and independently, autonomously exist, is actually an illusion. It's a projection of your mind. So as long as you make divisions in your mind, as long as you project dualities out on the world, you will not be seeing crystal clear. In order to access enlightenment, you need to have no defense. However, your mind is prepared with an army of self-defense mechanisms to protect itself from collapsing. And enlightenment is the collapse of you. So the key here is to become conscious of this, become conscious of the workings of your mind, and then ultimately to slowly chip away at that ego, chip away at the ways in which your mind defends itself. So slowly you can let go. And finally, your mind would need to be absolutely open. But it's closed right now because you're filling it with beliefs, opinions, and ideas. These close the mind because you think you might know. However, we must remember that these are necessary. These help you anchor into the world. However, enlightenment is the removal of that anchor.